God, give me a daughter who is strong-willed and who is brave. And then I got Archer.
Then you got Archer.
I'd like to punch him from time to time.
It's not much different.
No.
Hello.
Hello.
Episode 17.
Welcome back.
Second one of the year.
Yeah, so technically wouldn't this be like episode 2?
Well, yeah, but it's 17.
Okay. Do whatever you want. However you want to do it.
Season 2. Still episode 17.
All right. Well, I'm down for whatever makes your heart happy. What are we talking about today?
Parenting. Yeah. One of God's greatest gifts to adults.
That decided to have children.
To decide to have children. Parenting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sound pretty great. Did you hear that noise? What was that?
I have no idea where that's coming from.
It's super annoying though. Just in case.
So, parenting, yeah, it's one of those things that are super easy to do and easy to have patience all the way through it and not get upset instantaneously and all day, every day. And it's
the easiest job.
It's the easiest job.
Super easy.
So, it also makes you a kind of a liar.
Does it?
Just like I just did the last 30 seconds talking. But it's kind of how you talk to your kids sometimes too, you know?
Yeah.
It's not lying as much as it is saving them from you killing them.
Well, we'll get to that part.
So
that's for sure.
But I want to get back on track with starting the podcast off with verses from the good book.
So what does the Bible
which we
say
fell
about
off.
parenting?
So I've got Hebrews 12:11. It says, "No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it."
I'm surprised you didn't go with somebody in our family's notorious one, which is "Thou shalt honor their father and mother." Dun,
yeah,
dun, dun.
But that's... No. This one I figured was a good one for parenting itself because,
sure.
you know, nowadays there's, if you were born probably in the early 90s and later or earlier, you were parented like that Bible verse.
Yeah.
I think a lot of kids who are born after the early 90s have kind of been being parented like a bunch of wieners.
So we just had a conversation in a group chat that I'm in about like family functions, like at the school. And one of the moms made a comment and I could not have agreed more. Like I wish that there was like a way to like something a million times.
Yeah.
But the comment essentially was like, we don't want the scenario was like, we don't want a bunch of kids running around like the cafeteria, misbehaving and losing their minds. And it's like, well, if the parents would do their jobs and parent their children, we wouldn't be running into these situations.
Yeah, it's like, pretty much that's...
Teach your kid how to act in public. There's a time and place for things. I'm not discrediting. Kids can be kids.
Right.
But like, there is a time and place for things. And if parents parented their children, they would know that.
Agreed. And I'm good with the school system teaching kids respect and to listen and things like that, It's all the other crap that comes with it these days.
Yeah, that's a whole nother
But
topic.
anyways, yeah, I just I think we do a good job at balancing being strict and being disciplined with our kids.
Yeah.
I think we do a good job at identifying when it's too much and when it's... But, I find myself harder on Archer than I do Olive. And I think that's a guy on, like a dude-on-dude thing.
Well, right.
As a
And
parent.
I'm the opposite. I'm harder on Olive than I am on Archer.
And I think that just comes along with gender. That's just how I just view Archer as the tougher one versus Olive, who's, more just dainty and emotional. She's emotional.
She is very emotional.
Super emotional.
Dainty, though?
I don't know. She's...
Girl, it's not dainty.
She plays the middle ground for being a girl.
She's emotional,
dainty,
though.
But she's very emotional. Yeah.
Jeez.
So it's just, you spank Olive and
She's my kryptonite.
She'll cry for she'll cry for 8 years. You spank Archer and he just kind of looks at you like that's all you got.
Yeah. Bring it
so
on.
Naturally, I've upped my game with Archer as far as discipline goes. But
yeah,
it's good to be tough on your kids, man, because you're not tough on your kids, and those are the ones who are out there stopping traffic on highways during protests. You know what I mean?
No, it's so true.
That's the truth. It really is. Those are the kids who don't respect anybody but themselves.
Right. Which takes me to the idea of like, where does that start? And it kind of brought me into the first like kind of point that we have here, which is studies show that 40% of parents let their infants watch TV. So that means that children around the age of 3 months are regularly exposed to television.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that TV is bad. Like, I'm not saying that you can't let your kid watch TV. Do I think that there's some unnecessary television watching going on in the world? Yeah.
For sure.
Do
Probably
I
more often than not.
Yeah. Do I think that a lot of kids, including ours, have watched things that are probably, too mature for their ages?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, we've all fallen victim to it. You and I have had this conversation where we'll be like, well, we watched it as a child. And it's like, yeah, but was that okay?
Sure.
And so we let our kids watch TV. There's, we control what they watch. It's not a free for all.
They earn it. And
we're
take
not
it away
out here
just as
like
fast as we give it.
YouTubing. There's no
right.
just free reign here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we definitely. You okay over there?
Yeah.
You got a frog?
A frog in my throat.
Oh, all right. No, so there's definitely balance, but exposing to your child to TV by age 3 is wild to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. But, we also are in a different style of parenting with the kids now than we were when Olive was little, right? Olive watched more TV when she was smaller than she does now.
Yeah, but at 3 months old, you're not just like propping up a kid.
You said 3, and I was like, wait a minute.
No,
at 3
months old. Like,
no, 3 months is, no, when you're propping an iPad up at dinner and just, just that kind of stuff is where you're leaving society to raise your children is step 1 of exactly what not to do at this point in life, because society is, it's gone sideways. We live in a world of good and evil now. And unfortunately, the majority of the societal component that's propped up famously and in your face and all the time on billboards is the evil side of society for the most part.
Sure.
Not everything is evil, obviously, but the part that gets the money pushed at it, the fame pushed at it, the popularity pushed at it,
right,
is the evil side of society. And when you just walk away and let your kids sit there and watch kids YouTube, which from an outside perspective should be kids YouTube. It should be something that is monitored and good enough for your kids to sit and watch and not get pulled into something rated R or pulled into something that they shouldn't be exposed to.
For sure.
And they do not do a good job at that.
Right.
So if that's what you're doing, your kids are seeing things they're not supposed to.
Right. That's true. There's 4 main parenting styles.
Yeah, I found that. There's, the internet's full of so many
resources.
highly rated, intelligible people.
Wow.
Intelligent people.
Interesting.
And they're all right because it's the internet. So I found 4 main parenting styles, which they kind of make sense. One is authoritative. Authoritative? Here we go. Whew.
We're going to be here all night.
Man. Anyways, authoritative. Parenting balances high expectations with warmth and support, fostering independence, discipline, and open communication.
Yep.
Which is probably where we fall in line.
Yeah.
For the most part, for sure. Second is permissive. Permissive parenting is characterized by high warmth and low discipline, allowing children extensive freedom with minimal rules or expectations. That's not us. Mm-mm. Those are the kids with signs and flags on highways, stopping traffic.
Okay.
Authoritarian parenting is strict and demanding, emphasizing obedience, discipline, and high expectations with little warmth or flexibility. It's probably the second one that we kind of fall into, although we don't pull in lack of warmth or flexibility.
Okay.
That's a pretty hardcore one there, you know.
Keep going.
And then there's...
I have things to say about all of these, but I want you to go through.
Definitely want you to. Yeah, absolutely. Neglectful parenting is uninvolved and indifferent, providing little emotional support, guidance, or supervision, often leading to a lack of structure and connections. Those are the kids who sit at dinner with the iPad in front of their face.
Okay.
So, jump in.
So who do you think raised you? What type of parent?
Oh,
Don't get your feelings hurt.
No, I'm
moms
my
and dads.
Feelings, yeah, don't get your feelings hurt.
This isn't meant to be a dig at anybody. This is just out of genuine curiosity. Where do you think your parents fell?
I think whether they like it or not, there's definitely some neglectful parenting in there because I had the freedom to sneak around and BS and do...
You're also a child from divorced parents.
Pretty much whatever I wanted to do. And I had parents that, God bless them, believed me in a lot of things I said that I was doing.
Okay.
So, you know, here I am. You know, I probably could have been where I'm at. Not that I don't love everything I have.
For sure.
But I probably could have been at this place in life probably about 15 years earlier had I not been able to go do all the things that I did in life, which, yeah, they brought me where I'm at. So that's a good thing.
Yep.
I don't know, man. Permissive, more discipline, allowing children a sense of freedom. Probably permissive.
Okay.
You know, I don't think I had a lot of rules and expectations. My dad was far easier on me than my mom.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I gravitated toward my dad when I grew to the age that I had the option to do so.
Right.
My mom was not as easygoing as my dad was. By all means, she was, you know, she parented very well.
Right.
You know, and if you got on her bad side, it was, you know, love you, Mom.
It was the laundry room for you.
Wasn't laundry room for me. It was laundry room for my sister, though. But I will tell you this. I've had my mom, you know, freaking slammed on top of me with her finger in my face. You know, we went at it when I was younger. And this was all me going through it with my parents got divorced and having a stepdad and having, you know, a wannabe stepmom and all these things and trying to, you know, so that I think I got parented two different ways, no matter how anybody wants to look at it.
For sure. Most kids do, even in marriages, most kids do get parented two different ways.
Sure.
It definitely adds a different dynamic when one household is one way and the other household is another way.
Oh, 1,000%. Right.
It definitely changes things. Yeah. So, man, I would say Jay's an authoritarian, but he did give us warmth and support. So that's why I think he was authoritative.
For sure.
He did let you didn't get to make a whole lot of your own decisions. They were kind of made for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I look at so for those of people who don't know, in my dynamic specifically, my parents divorced when I was 3.
Yeah.
Or before 3, they remarried when I was 3. And we don't use the word step, but for painting the picture here,
exactly.
My mom and my stepdad had 3 daughters, and my dad and my stepmom had 2 sons. And so I'm the only child from my mom and my dad. And I knew how to work the system for sure. But I look at, you know, me versus how my siblings were raised. And sometimes I'm like, what the hell is happening here? Like someone like pulled the brakes.
Yeah.
I also tried really hard to set my siblings up for success, but some of them were just much more stubborn than I was.
I agreed.
Which is a lot to be said. And then I think that my mom was probably very permissive, very like warm and fuzzy about everything. Not a whole lot of rules, would kind of like let you figure things out on your own. But man, when she got to that point, y'all better watch the hell out, because she was coming for the jugular. And I will never forget, I I had a progress report that I hid from her, and I actually had a B on the progress report. So it was bad, but it said that I was missing homework.
Yeah.
And of course, every night she was like, "Did you do your homework?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did my homework. I didn't do my homework." And I hid the progress report because it said that I was missing homework assignments. Man. And she like came at me in the kitchen and like arm going, and I was like ready to hit me, and I was like, I would not do that if I was you. And she was like, you better fucking get out of here before I murder you. And I was like, okay, sounds good.
See, I never had those moments growing up, man. I never had any of that stuff. That's probably why I answered the way I did, because I was, I don't know, I felt like I was able to kind of float through childhood. And I really don't have a lot of memories from like, I don't even know, man. Like, I don't have a ton of memories in elementary school. I've got some memories in junior high.
What are we blocking out here?
Most of my memories are high school. But high school is where I got.
I would say that probably a lot of people's most of their memories are from high school.
Well, that's where the majority of your growth is, for sure.
And things just start to take over from there. Right.
But that's where I kind of went, I don't know, downhill, I guess you could say. But from a parenting standpoint, that was with my dad. For some of the time, my mom was in Vegas with my sisters and my dad, my stepdad. And so there wasn't much attention paid there other than what I would tell her I was going through, or what was going on in my life. So that's all she had to base it off of. Right. And at that point in time, she was raising my three sisters. Yeah. And they were
so much more well behaved.
Yeah, they are more well behaved. Well, two of them are. You know who you are. But no, my parents did a good job. And now that I'm a parent, you know, I realized that they did a good job based on what they knew and what they had.
Of course.
Because you and I will get into conversations, and I'm like, I don't even know how to handle the situation that's happening right now. Right. Especially the Olive turning 8 years old, who feels like she's turning 14 already. And she'll say stuff or ask things, and I'm like, I don't even know how to act. I don't even know how to act as a parent. Like, I do not know what I'm doing. Right. So I can't look at my parents and be like, man, you didn't do that right, or you didn't parent that way right, or you were wrong, or my parents did the best they had given the kid they had at the set, if you put it in that sense too. Because there were moments where, you know, I did drugs, you know, and and my dad was oblivious to it.
I know.
Because of what I would tell him.
Of course.
And he believed me as his kid.
Yeah.
Then he let it go.
Yeah.
You know, so I never got in trouble for that kind of stuff.
Right.
Because it just kind of went away based on what I said it was, or what I said I was doing, or where I was, or what happened. You
know, I think something big that people, no matter what situation you're in or stage of life you're in, something that you should acknowledge is, so I read the book, The Origin of You, which is a fantastic book. And something that is brought up in the book, and it's brought up in multiple other books too, but like, your parents really are doing the best they can with what they have. Yeah. But also remember that this is their first time doing it too.
That's what I'm saying.
In every aspect. So it was their first time when they had you. Mm-hmm. It was their first time then when they had another kid with another child on top of that. Mm-hmm. It was their first time when they had 2 children, you know, or another child, and then still had 2 other children to take care of, or their first time parenting 3 kids, or whatever the dynamic is. It's their first time. And if you can look at it like that, you sit back for a second and you're like, oh my God. Yeah. Like, it really is.
Right. Nice job.
Like, totally, you know, like this is our first time.
I'm not dead. Yeah. So good job.
Right. Like, this is our first time parenting an 8-year-old and an almost 3-year-old. Right. Every day.
A boy and a girl.
Yeah. Every day is always going to be a first new. Yes. So giving your parents grace in those situations. Do I think that you should give your parents grace if they're like drug addicts or they're harming you or whatever? Well, no. Like, sometimes you just need to draw the line and be like, this is disgusting.
Exactly.
But yeah, for the most part, in all healthy, good relationships between parents and children, it's their first time and they're figuring it out, doing the best that they can with what they've got.
100%. You know, then you throw in, you know, the aspect or of the divorce.
Yeah.
You know, then you've got a mom who is remarried, who has, you know, 2 more kids with, you know, my dad or stepdad. Yeah. You know, now she's balancing that with an ex-husband who also has a kid plus your kids. And now there's that dynamic of that stress and that anxiety and that, you know, disagreement and those 2 households. And
different parenting
when
dynamics.
you show up, you don't care what you do at your dad's house. You don't do that here. I don't care what you do at your mom's house. You don't do that here. So it's chaos, you know.
It's funny. Olive said to us tonight, she's like, are you sure you're never going to divorce Dad? And I was like, oh, I'm sure. And she was like, well, how are you so sure? I'm like, well, because I'll kill him first. And she was like,
oh, man.
Wait, what? And I was like, yeah, no. This was a for real deal breaker. And obviously one day, like, she'll know the conversations that you and I had before we got married.
Right.
Which was a big deal for us, being that we were children from divorced families. Like, divorce isn't an option.
Right.
So, like, we're sitting down and we're having these tough conversations when we need to have them, and we're working through them because I'm dying with you.
Right.
And you're dying with me.
Right,
like,
exactly. And I think at this point, I've beat my parents out when they got divorced. And, you know, my whole life was, you know, I got to get past that point. And then, and then I've hit that level of success. So I made it so far. Mom, I made it.
Yay. Doom, doom,
so, but no, it's, you know, nothing is about parenting is easy. Literally
no, and then you
nothing.
add
the
in.
The easiest part is planning on how you're going to be as a parent and what you're going to do with your kid before they're born.
And then watching how all of that is going to change.
And watch how all of that unravels
100%.
the second it hits you out of the hospital. It's like just nuts.
I was never co-sleeping with our children. Let Archer sleep in both of us until he was like a year. Like, I mean,
that was the second child.
That was my second. Yeah. Right. So it was like every rule that we had, I was like, we could push this a little bit more. But then you also parent and you involve outside factors that you don't necessarily always have control over. You just hope that your kids are equipped with the best knowledge that you've given them.
Right. The biggest, scariest one is school.
Yeah, that's a big topic for us.
That's the biggest one because they spend just as much time at school as they do at home.
More.
You know, given weekends.
Right.
But so that's the other half of their life is half of their life you do not have control over. Right. Or direct control over.
Yeah, I mean, Olive will come home and tell us things that are being talked about at school, and I'm like,
what?
I'm pulling you out of school tomorrow.
I know. And you can't control that.
Right.
Like and that's why you keep kids off social media at such a young age because
absolutely.
Holy moly, that's the last place even adults need to be on these days.
That's true. It's very true. I keep saying to Olive, like, man, maybe when you're in middle school, I'm going to homeschool you. And she's like, really? I mean, she's been asking me to homeschool her since she was in kindergarten.
Right. But she's at a good school.
She's at a great school. Yeah. I love her principal. I love everything about that school. So she will at least stay there until middle school. And then truthfully, I probably will homeschool her in middle school. So that's that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I did have something down here. What do we get away with as kids? But I think I went pretty deep into that one here pretty fast.
Was it the drugs?
It was everything, man. Like if I could probably do a whole episode of the stuff I did as a kid growing up that my parents probably know everything I did at this point in time. I don't even know if I've ever held anything back from my mom specifically.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I told her things that she never even wanted to know.
Probably.
She probably could have died not knowing some of the things that I've told her.
Same with my dad.
So
not that I didn't tell my mom, but I am very close with my dad as well. So my dad knows all the things.
I tell my dad way more as an adult, as a grown man, because we're more friends than we're way more friends now, which is wonderful, than we were growing up. I had a lot of, no, I don't know. I'm trying to look at the word. Like I had a lot of, we didn't have the best relationship when I was growing up, especially in high school. Yeah. High school, I was such a loose cannon.
Did you have a resentment?
I don't know. Maybe we didn't have a great relationship through high school, all through high school and just outside of high school, because I was a dick. And,
you guys are very similar now, but back then you were probably very different. But
if I think about it, he's probably a lot like I am now as a father.
Yeah.
Like,
which makes me want to slap the shit out of both of you then.
right. Because I go after all of, like, for homework. Like, he came after me for my homework, which makes plenty of sense because that's how I was raised.
Which is why I don't think homework should be a thing.
Right. Same here. I still don't think that. Right.
No, I agree.
I grew up as a kid thinking this is the stupidest thing in the
still think it's
world.
dumb.
And, but then I go to read words like authoritative. And I really botched that up. But, there's no calculators to tell you how to speak.
No, there's
but
not.
there's calculators to do math.
Yes, very true.
No, I didn't tell him everything I did.
Right.
I think if I look back, there are moments when I've been like, oh, yeah, I did this. And he'd be like, oh, that's why you were.
So it, like, all made sense, like clicked in his brain.
Yeah. And I think some things he just didn't care to know.
I also think, okay, so I also believe, and this could be true in your family dynamic as well as others, but I do believe that, let's say you have a sibling going through something very different than you're going through. Mm-hmm. I think once attention gets pulled to that, your bad behavior just is kind of like, meh, whatever.
No,
because
I can
what
see
you're
that.
doing doesn't seem as big or as heavy as what your sibling is doing, and what that is putting pressure on the family dynamic. And so, and I see that in my own situation too. So that's not just your dynamic, but like, I was always the yes kid. Like, yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. Or play it safe. I didn't stay out past curfew. I didn't do a whole lot of like really crazy things. I mean, I backed into a stop sign one time and brought it home, but like I was a pretty good kid. And then I look at like my brother, boy was balls to the wall. He's still balls to the wall.
Right.
And then I look at our youngest brother and he is not that way.
Yeah.
I look at my sisters. I got one sister who was just like, meh. I got another sister who was like, I'm following all the fucking rules because I'm about to be a cop.
Right.
And then I got the youngest sister who was like, where are we getting the next bag of weed? But we were all raised by the same people.
Yeah.
But we were raised at different times in their lives as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. You're right. We were all raised at different times by our parents.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as the same moment of parenting time ever again, like you said. So,
and there's always an adjustment period too, right? Like, oh, that didn't work with Nick. Hopefully it'll work better with Kelly or whatever it may be. And then there's just the hopes of like, hold on, let's see if it does work.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, I had a lot of freedom growing up. I don't even know if it was freedom or lack of, I think I pissed my dad off enough to where he was like, figure it out then.
Yeah.
Bro.
I was always very honest about all the things I was doing that I was actually doing. Like, I'm going to go take your car and I'm going to drive around the neighborhood with my friends at 14.
No.
I was just so honest, like default honest.
Yeah. I just did whatever I wanted to and snuck around.
Yeah, I did.
And stayed out late and went to parties and
my parents always knew.
Got arrested, and I started smoking when I was 14.
Right.
Like I started smoking cigarettes when I was 14 with my neighbors. But rarely.
The good neighbor or the bad neighbor?
He's a bad neighbor. But I did a lot more smoking weed than smoking cigarettes. But like I started smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
And I could come home and there's no way possible for you to not smell like a cigarette.
Yeah.
Unless you took a shower and used Old Spice and then now you smell like completely something else.
Yeah.
But it was rarely ever brought to my attention.
Yeah, I also think it's just a different era.
No, for sure. But it was rarely ever brought to my attention. Like, you smoking cigarettes?
Yeah.
Give me the pack. Like, it was never that.
Right.
It was just like, smell of crap. Cool.
Well, maybe that was his way of trying to say it,
But that was like my whole life.
Right.
So that's why it was so much easier to be like, I ditched school so many times that I was going to get expelled and have to go to a continuation school.
Yeah. I told my mom I'm leaving class. They're going to get a phone call.
My dad had no idea.
Yeah, no, I'm telling
you. I don't even know how I got away with it because
honest.
The school never reached out to my dad. I don't know how.
I don't know either.
There wasn't a lot of cell phones. Well, there was, but But like I just would ditch school and I would be gone. Like I would ride my bike in the morning to school, quote to school.
Yeah.
And then me and my buddy Gabe would take off on our bikes and we'd ride 25 miles to the beach.
That's impressive.
And then tell me about it. and then I would be there all day and I would get home at like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And then my dad would be like, where you been? Like, oh, we ditched school. We rode our bikes to the beach, or, oh, we rode our bikes to the beach after school. And it would be like little to no thought about it. Like, oh, okay.
Like, you're like, bro, how do you think I got there? School
So
got
it's
out
like-
at 3. I just rode 25 miles.
So I chalk it up to I pissed my dad off so much that he stopped giving a shit.
Or he was just like super grateful. He
He's
came
like,
home every night.
whatever.
And he was like, thank God.
So I don't know. Like I said, we didn't do very good as father and son through high school. We had some pretty.
I think that's common. One parent tries to instill one type of parenting and it doesn't necessarily work for that kid's personality, and another parent tries to instill another type of, parenting,
Right.
and it works better, and it makes the conversation easier or whatever it may be. Like, I do just think that that's very common
Right.
in life. And so, yeah, I mean, it's hard.
Yeah. No, it is. And as a parent, when you start to go, like I look at like maybe with my dad, if that's what it was, I don't know what it was, Dad. So sorry if I offended you. But if you get to the point where you're having such a battle with your kid and you don't even know where to go to as the parent now.
Yeah.
You kind of go into fight or flight mode where it's like, I'm mad. I'm going to act out mad now. And then if you piss your kid off and now they're pissed off and you just go down these, if the communication stops or halts at anger and discipline constantly and no communication,
Right.
if there's no communication outside of discipline, then the discipline is just bad behavior on both parts, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're just disciplining all the time, there's no conversation or communication among that. Like if I get at Olive and I get on her, you do the same thing. If we get on her about something,
right,
and it tears her down,
right,
there's communication afterwards.
For sure.
Of like, hey, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but I don't want you to think that I'm not proud of you,
right,
or I'm not like that. I'm pissed off at you.
Right.
I just, what you did was wrong.
Right.
And I need to explain that to you. And yes, you're in trouble. And yes, you're going to lose those things.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to think the situation was so bad that I'm
yeah.
pissed off at you, that I don't like you, that I'm trying to be mean to you, because
right.
I'm not. I'm trying to be a parent.
Right.
So, like I said, if it's just discipline and no communication, then it's bad behavior, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, and that kind of comes into like lazy parenting.
Sure.
Right.
That's the neglectful.
And right, parent. For sure. But I think that there's so many like factors that play into things, right? I don't mind like letting the kids put on a movie while we're cooking dinner and unwinding, and then the TV's off. We're not watching
right.
TV while we're eating dinner. Like we're having a conversation, or, maybe it's not necessarily lazy parenting, but maybe you had kids older in life and you just are done, and you're just like, I already did my part. I'm kind of tired. I don't necessarily want to be on top of this kid. Like,
yeah, right.
Or maybe you just yourself don't necessarily have the motivation or the personality to get on the floor and play with your kid and do those things. Like, I don't necessarily think that I don't think it's always a mental illness. I do think that can play into it, but I do think that sometimes you're just like, I don't know what else to do for you besides put these blocks together, and I'm tired of putting these blocks together for the 100th time.
Right.
So there's definitely different things that play into quote unquote lazy parenting.
Yeah.
But I do think that it can be very unhealthy for both you and your kid if you don't correct the lazy parenting.
For sure. And I also think on that there's a misconception on feeling lazy as a parent as well. Like, right. You don't always have to be the parent on the floor playing blocks with your kids. You don't always have to be the parent riding the bike next to your kid.
Right.
Like, your kids are allowed to do so many things on their own.
Yeah.
And it is a bonus when their parent jumps in to have fun on their level.
Well, and helping them create independence.
Well, 100%, right. And like, and we're cooking dinner
Critical
or we're doing
thinking.
something or, we're finishing work after work at home, unfortunately, sometimes. And it's like, the kids are all uppity. You want to do something and you pause them and tell them, hold on for a minute.
Right.
You guys go play.
Yeah.
Go play.
Yep.
That's not being neglectful. It's not being lazy. It's a total misconception.
Yeah.
That not wanting to play with your freaking kids all day is neglectful and lazy.
Yeah.
And it's not. Your kids are supposed to grow and play with each other and do the things on their own and go talk to themselves in the corner. I don't care what you do, but you go on social media and it's like, oh God, I'm not a good parent.
Yeah.
I'm not the guy building shit every
totally
weekend. I'm not the guy blowing my kid's mind every single day. And it's like, it's crazy to think that you have to live up to all that stuff. Otherwise, you're the lazy parent, you're neglectful, and you're not doing great.
There was also a comment I made to Olive the other day about, I had read this thing where this dad had said that he only told his mom he was bored one time because she gave him a list of things to do around the house and he had to do the dishes and mop the floors and vacuum and do all these things. And he was like, I'd never not once told her that I was bored after that. It's like, brilliant. I figured out how to keep myself entertained no matter what. And it's true though, like it really is important for your kids. It's okay for them to be bored, but it's okay for them to like think critically about things. Or like, okay, well, what do I want to do? Probably one of the most annoying things, but also one of my favorite things that Olive does is she'll take the freaking boxes in the garage and build shit out of them.
All day long.
All day. Yeah. And like the part that drives me crazy is that the shit gets left everywhere and then you can't break the house for like, a year.
Yeah, until she's over it.
Yeah. But it's also one of my favorite things because she's literally sitting in the garage on the floor, cutting up a bunch of boxes, building rooms inside of a house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like her imagination is just wild. It goes wild. It's so great. So I think that's a big one. And just letting them figure it out too. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay to be bored. It's okay to play by yourself. It's
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a note here that says punching children is not acceptable, although I would love a good old-fashioned parking lot brawl from time to time. Our daughter is so much like me. I don't need another me. Okay? I already got me. That's why I married the opposite of me. And I distinctly remember saying, God, give me a daughter who is strong-willed and who is brave and who is fierce. And what I meant was do all of those things when she's 18, 21. Now, while she's 8, still living under my roof, testing the Jesus in me.
Yep.
I didn't ask for that. So now I want to go fight you in the driveway because you think you know it all.
True. But God gave you exactly what you needed.
Did he?
Yep.
And then I got Archer.
Then you got Archer.
I'd like to punch him from time to time.
He's not much different.
No.
No. He's, holy moly, that kid. I caught him climbing up the back of the van. Not climbing. I didn't catch him climbing up the back of the van. I caught him sitting on top of the van again this weekend. And mind you, on top of the van,
we own a 1990 Chevy van that has a ladder on the back of it.
Yeah,
like you can get to the roof.
And this 2.5-year-old will climb all the way up and sit on the roof and then cry because he's scared after that. Second time it's happened.
Wasn't scared getting up there.
Second time it's happened. So I just, these kids are nuts, but they're wonderful kids.
For sure.
We're doing a fantastic job as parents, although it doesn't always feel like that.
No.
We have 2 good kids, so.
We do.
It's a result of decent parenting, I have to say.
I agree with that.
Another thing I wanted to talk about was, or we had on here, was parenting through Christ. That's a big one for me because I didn't have that so much growing up.
Right.
I did, my mom did a good job at that. It wasn't consistent.
Right.
I'll put it that way. But she always kept Jesus in our lives in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
She was never a forceful parent when it came to that. And then we kind of, we didn't go to church all the time very often, but we were definitely holiday churchgoers. Definitely in Christmas time, Easter, things like that. Not on my dad's side, although I think he's coming around these days, which is very pleasant to see.
I love that. I do.
But myself, especially in the last few years, have grown very close in my faith with God. And that has definitely affected me as a parent. And I think it's affected us as parents with these kids because we instill it in them at every meal.
Yep.
We go to church every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Olive is huge in it. I mean, she wants to serve and, she wanted to get baptized all on her own one day, and so that definitely pushed us to be better parents through our faith.
Yeah.
She was a big proponent of that for sure.
Yeah. And she does a great job of it. She, in the morning, she's got a Bible in the car and she likes to read a verse out of it. And, she does the Bible app at night when we put her to bed. And so there's lots and lots of conversations with our kids about leaning into their faith. And it's funny to like watch them blossom into their own, Archer is notorious for being like, when he wakes up, you'll be like, did you have sweet dreams? Yes. What did you dream about? Church. Was Jesus there? No. I'm like, well, alrighty. We're getting there though.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's really cool to watch them come into their own just based on the foundation that we are laying for them.
Yeah, it's awesome. It really is.
I agree with that.
So, yeah.
It definitely also kind of transitions into this next part, which is the impacts on the things that we say. So the things that we say and maybe how we say them too, like we said, if we're getting onto our kids, it's a matter of disciplining them and correcting them. It's not because we think that you're a bad kid. And like, that's part of, we just had that conversation with Olive, like she's struggling with listening because she just wants to do her own thing and she's in her own world. And it's like, but you have to listen. Like you have to follow directions, whether we're giving you the directions or the teacher's giving you the directions. Like you have to listen and helping her understand that like, just because she's struggling in one area doesn't make her a bad kid. Like she's
not
a
at
great
all.
kid.
She's a great kid, right?
Great manners. She is kind. She is so friendly. She, is helpful in all of the ways. So just because you're struggling with listening to us the first time doesn't make you a bad kid.
Right. Pisses me off.
Oh, it definitely pisses me off. But they really do listen to everything and they take it all in. And so where you may not think a conversation is warranted, a conversation is still warranted.
And that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Because it's your discipline is not just words. It's action, it's body movement, it's tone, it's everything. And kids see that because I can see it in Olive's eyes or even Archer's eyes, where you can see their facial expression change based on how your tone hits them. And as a parent, it's hard to always keep yourself controlled to a certain degree. Like even today, it was Olive trying to read her book and wanting to faint because she was spinning around her. It was just such a crapshoot today. But Archer, I'm making dinner and Archer comes out with a beef stick. Can I have a beef stick? And I say, no.
Yeah.
We're going to have dinner? No. Go put it back. Well, I come back into the kitchen and he's sitting there on the counter. He's eating a beef stick. And I'm like, dude, give me the beef stick. And I threw it in the trash. And I said, go sit in your bed. Go sit in your bed. I got pissed.
Yeah.
So he's crying. He goes, sits in his bed. And I come back and I could tell it all was kind of like thrown back, because then I was kind of getting at her about reading her book and all this stuff. And I said, look, I'm pissed off because you guys aren't listening. I go, and you guys are, the situation is making me angry. And I don't want to be angry.
Right.
But you guys not listening is taking me to another level of pissed off right now, that if you don't want that, then you guys need to start listening when I say something. And so it's, I could have just easily been like,
whatever,
go to your room, this and that. All could have been like, what's wrong with you? I could have been, shut up. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just pure disciplining without conversation.
Right.
And you can't do that.
Right.
Otherwise you just look like, well, Dad's being a dick again.
Yeah. For sure. And I told Olive the other day, I was like, you know what? I am notorious for just letting it rip. Like I will just yell. I'm like, I'm already a loud person as it is. So when you take me to the next level, I'm just going to yell. And I just told her, I'm like, I'm done yelling. I'm done yelling because it obviously doesn't work. So now I'm just going to take your shit away from you.
Right.
And she's like, okay.
But at least she had an explanation of why she knew it was coming.
100%. I'm like, you don't listen.
And if you know it's coming and you still decide.
Nothing's on you, dude. I've given you all the tools. You're going to have to figure it out. Yeah, you know, I took her Yodo from her because in the morning, man, she is just a punk. You like wake her up and like nicely. I'm like, good morning. How did you sleep? Da da da. And she's like, Nyeh.
My dad used to,
like,
maybe you should do this to her in the morning, because my dad used to take a cold, wet rag and he would wring it out on my face.
Well, she's going to get that if she keeps it up. So I told her, like, you don't get your Yodo at night anymore then, because if you're going to wake up and be ugly to me when I'm being nice to you, like, I don't deserve that. That's not fair. Then you don't get to enjoy the things that you enjoy before going to bed.
For sure.
And she's been going to bed with no Yodo. So, and she also wakes up happier. So I don't even want to hear it. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But it's just one of those things where I'm like, I'm not yelling. I'm just going to take it away.
Right.
And it's going to sit on the kitchen counter and you're going to stare at it every day. And you're going to be like, damn, I really want that back. And then maybe you're going to listen and do better so that you can have it back.
Right. Exactly. Parenting, you know?
So much fun.
Parenting doesn't work. Try the next thing.
Oh, man.
But they definitely hear everything you say. They see how you say it. They see how you react. And even when you try to say shit around the corner away from them, they hear it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how they do it, but kids
the same way we do it.
Kids are so aware.
Right.
And it's up to you as a parent to have that level of communication where you know they're aware.
Yeah.
So you talk about it. It's, you know, definitely don't want to be a parent that hides the truth behind why we act the way we act as parents, because that's just, I don't want oblivious kids.
Well, I also don't want to, in any situation, I've always said this, like, if God forbid something happened one day, I never want our kids to be like, well, I didn't know that about mom, or I didn't know that about dad. And I mean, to an extent, right? There doesn't need to be like any type of like down and dirty, like, but like oh, wow. Like, they were just really good at hiding that.
Right.
Like, that just seems so cruel. Because, like, what if one day our kid is struggling with depression or anxiety and, like, this whole time they thought their parents are, like, picture perfect and nothing's wrong with them. And little do they know, you know, you wanted to toss her off of a cliff one day.
I can't wait until my kids get to the age where I can divulge all the things I've done. But, you know, my mom was always honest with me and my sisters and stuff. And my dad... I don't know, to be honest with you. My dad was like, his dad was a chain smoker, 2 packs a day, non-filtered cigarettes, his whole life, my whole life. You know, he bought whiskey by the case, big handle bottles by the 6-pack boxes of handles. He would blow through them in a week. I mean, he woke up to drink at 1 o'clock in the morning, went back to bed. Yeah. Like, he was a big alcoholic, a big addict. Yeah. Not drugs, just classic old, you know, 50s, 60s guy who just smoked and drank. Yeah. So I do think that my dad always wanted to stay away from those things. Yeah. You know, but as a parent growing up, it was, I never drank, and I never smoked, and I never did this, and I never did that, and I never did that. And here I am doing all those things. Right. You know, so I don't know if that's a mixture of, right. I'm going to do it anyways. Right. Or, you know, I don't know. True. Even as a grown-ass adult, he still doesn't drink that much. So I don't know if it's because he did for a while.
I think that part of his growing up.
His parents were the same direction.
I was going to say part of his, you know, the reason is.
And his dad was a hard ass, disciplined very well.
Yeah. But I also, your family has a line of addicts, and he saw 100%. That. And he was like, no, that's not the path that I'm choosing for myself. And he stayed clear of all of those things.
Yeah, and I do the same thing. Yeah. Right? I mean, I do the exact same thing. I have a total fear of being addicted to something. Even when I, you know, even when I would try drugs or do drugs with friends, and it was very casual. It was very social, I'll put it that way. Yeah. You know, it was a very social thing. It wasn't like I was on a Wednesday afternoon doing hard drugs or anything, but it was always a weekend party thing. Yeah. But it was always that I'm not going to do this again. Yeah. You know, because I'll tell you this much, and it's not for anything more than what I'm trying to say, but drugs are, when you're doing them,
Yeah.
They're everything that you can imagine why you'd want to do it again.
Right.
Because they're
fantastic.
They're fantastic.
Right.
So that was always my fear.
Yeah.
So I would do a drug, and then it would be like Sunday morning or something, and I'd be like, I feel like garbage.
Not doing that again.
I don't want to do this again.
Yeah.
It was so awesome last night. I don't want to do it again because I'm always going to want to do that.
Yeah.
So I was always in that headspace.
Right.
So I can understand where a parent would look at that.
Yeah.
And finally have kids and be like, don't do drugs. I'll never do drugs. You do drugs, I'll kill you.
Right.
And it's like, no. But,
right.
I'm not going to tell my 8-year-old daughter what I did, but
we got some time.
We got time.
Parenting, I kind of want to wrap it up with this, is parenting a 2.5, almost 3-year-old versus an 8-year-old.
Yeah, there's some distance there.
For us, it's obviously, Olive. I think Olive grew up a little bit faster than the average Joe it was just her around a bunch of adults for 5 years until her brother came around.
For sure.
And so, but if I think about it, Archer is defiant, like to his core. That boy is defiant.
Yeah.
And you have to like threaten him.
Yes.
With an inch of his life.
Yes.
For him to be like, maybe I'll stop.
Yeah.
But he's a kid that's like, you're like, I said, don't touch that. And he's like,
yeah.
Bing.
Where Olive is kind of nervous to do things.
Yes. And we have tried every discipline method with Archer.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we still have found one that works.
Besides physical abuse.
Yeah. He just does not care.
That's where we have to stop, obviously. So
he doesn't. But even spanking that kid.
We get what we get. No, that's not abuse.
He's unfazed.
But yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I've
like swatted him on the head. I'm like, what are you doing?
That actually works better.
He's like
he's the kid. He's the revamped version of like a 50s kid.
Oh, for sure.
Where he just keeps going and going and going and going, and I'll smack him right on the top of his head, and he'll be like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
Like, what did you need? Like, okay, now you're listening?
Yeah.
So he's that kid for sure.
Olive, she probably has like a tinge of ADD.
A tinge?
Okay, fair.
Come on, man. She gets up at 10 o'clock even at night to go to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden you hear her talking to herself on the toilet for 5 minutes. And you're like, Olive, yeah? Okay. Go to bed. Okay. She's like talking to, she's she's reading, like writing a book in her own head out loud.
So you have to tell her like 10 times to do something, but she is so slow. Okay. So slow. I'm not slow in anything that I do.
Right. But like moving slow.
Yeah. Like I like do things. Yeah. I like do things that get them done and move on to the next task. I have gotten breakfast finished, Archer dressed completely, Archer's teeth brushed, Archer's socks and shoes on, Archer's bag packed, Archer ready to walk out the door, and Olive still has not brushed her teeth. A 2-minute task, and she has been in the bathroom. Just last week, it took her 22 minutes to floss and brush her teeth.
Yeah, because she'll go in
put on
the
a full-ass
bathroom.
Performance.
She'll go in the bathroom, stare in the mirror, and start auditioning for the next movie she's going to be in.
For sure.
So
she definitely has more, probably right, more than a touch of.
I don't even know that it's slow more than it is
squirrel.
Just squirrel sidetrack 100%. Everything in her life is a squirrel moment.
Yeah. And so I have had to like learn a level of patience with that because that is not me. Yeah. Like I am
it's not even me. Which
no,
is
I don't
crazy
even know.
Because I'm slow too at doing a lot of things. But
yeah, but no, she is like
I don't like sidetrack off into La La Land. Yeah, no. She goes into La La Land like, quite often. Yeah. Yeah.
Like she's literally like about to be.
But her whole life, right? She did this whole YouTube thing for a split second in her life where we put this video online.
Yeah.
And she thought the world of it. And it was a cute video. So it's a hilarious video. But ever since that,
her whole life
has had this whole dream that she's going to be this famous YouTuber. And she almost knows nothing about YouTube for the most part.
Nothing.
And so her whole life is like auditioning for her next YouTube channel.
But it's everything, right? Like we should play the game where we go into a store and buy whatever we want.
I know.
I'm like,
right.
With whose money?
Her whole life she wants to like do this
YouTube, you got a job?
YouTube lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
No. Hi guys. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're eating dinner.
Yeah.
Like, okay, no.
Yeah, but parenting her is like the bane of my existence. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, Well, I went in there to brush my teeth, and then I obviously saw that there was something on the mirror, so I decided I was going to clean the entire bathroom. Now, don't get me wrong. I am this person. I swear I have undiagnosed ADHD because I will start a task and I will go do something else, and I will come back and be like, okay, shoot, I need to finish folding that laundry, and then I squirrel and I go do something else. But I'm like, ping, 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 ping. Where all of us like, hey guys,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't stop looking at yourself in the damn mirror and get your teeth brushed and get out here.
Hey guys, today I'm going to brush my teeth.
Yeah.
For 2 minutes.
I swear it's so. But parenting them and their personalities is so funny.
It's hilarious, man. We have hilarious kids, and I know that all parents think that their kids are great, and that's wonderful. But ours are great too.
100%.
And it's hilarious. Even when I'm mad, it's hilarious. And
yeah,
it's hard not to laugh as a parent when your kids are doing something really stupid or saying things they shouldn't be saying, but they're saying it in a very funny, cute way that it's hilarious. And
you're just like, dang, got me.
Parenting is really hard, man.
Yeah.
It's really hard, and every day, like I succeeded as a parent today, but tomorrow will be a completely different day that I will have to relearn, which is crazy, which is a crazy thought.
For sure.
And the day after that, and the day after that.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting older, and they're getting older, and
the world is changing.
The world is changing, and next year is going to be different, and I will be a completely different parent than I am today, and I will we will do our damnedest to do it right. So
I agree. All right.
You know, as long as they get into their 30s and 40s and they're still alive and they're happy and somewhat successful and have families of their own, and
we did our job.
We did an okay job.
For sure. High five.
High five.
Okay. Good luck editing that, because that sucked. All right. Let's wrap her up.
Wrap it up.
Pray
us out.
I'm going to keep today short and sweet. So let's do this. Lord, I just want to keep it simple. I want to pray for all the parents out there, the ones listening, the ones not listening, the ones who are struggling, who think they're not doing a great job, but they're doing a fantastic job. I want you to keep your hand on their shoulder, have them lean into you, ask you for some guidance, because sometimes it can be hard and crazy, and we feel like we're not doing a great job, but we are, and we know we are. So my prayer today is for the parents out there. May you guide them, keep an eye on them, keep their children safe, and make a world full of Jesus-loving Christians. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Nice words.
Thanks.
Rock and roll.
Peace out.
See you later. I don't know when. We're going on a cruise this weekend.
In like 5 minutes.
We're going on a cruise this weekend, so I'm going to forget the whole world exists.
I'm so excited.
With no kids.
No kids.
No parenting.
No parenting.
Thank God.
Thank God for our parents.
Thank God for cruise ships.
So they can go be grandparents.
Grandparenting. Whole nother level. Whole nother topic. So.
We should have a parent on for that.
God bless y'all.
Peace out.
Goodbyes.